Cool. So we got 10 responses from 4.7. Overall tournament experience. 3 5s, 3 4s, 4 3s. Generally pretty good, not completely unplayable. Pretty mediocre. I think there was one team who had a scheduling. You cannot hear me? As in now or on the stream? Video games. Video games. I can hear the audio. The stream was like 30-second delay, probably. Hello, hello. Really? Thank you, Discord. Very cool. Testing.
Undeafened. Muted. Unmuted.
Now, what did it mean by this? Hello? Testing, testing, hello. So this is the power of a stage channel. Stand by. Testing, testing. Yep,
Undeafened.
gonna give it one more chance, and I'll just move to a standard channel. Alright, how about now? Can you hear me? Alright, just had to restart Discord, I guess. If I disable streamer mode, are you unable to hear me? 1, 2, 3, can you still hear me? Thank you, Discord, very cool. Anyway, still doing this on the stream, whatever. Oh well, we'll get through it anyways. So, responses. Pretty decent. Nothing, no ones or twos. Not miserably unplayable. 3 is probably that team I moved back by like an hour, which was suboptimal. But we'll get that fixed. Tell us your opinion on the overall length of the tournament. 40% too short, 50% just right, 10% too long. Yeah, only, 7 matches this time? We didn't do a third place match. Briggle boards, yep. The issue trackers have been going really nicely. Got any issues? Is that form? We are able to grind through them, Airstace and I, eventually. Now, weapon feedback. Norse Heavy Industries, the star of this tournament, I guess. Heimdall, not used very much. BD in general wasn't very heavy this time around. 2 just rights. Veneer, 2 just rights. Scotty, ooh, 2 weak. We'll get to that. There's some interesting things coming in the pipeline. Mark 1. 1 2 weak, 5 just rights. Pretty solid. Fenrir, 3 2 weeks. The mixed ammo setup was one complaint I saw. Jotun, 3 2 weeks, 2 just rights. Did anyone use the healing ammo on the Jotun? Don't remember. We'll get to that. Surtur. Ooh, real solid. Good job, chat. Except for one small issue. Just fuck my normals up, fam. That's alright. Acer. Pretty solid. Gugnir. Pretty solid. That's surprising. I didn't know the canister shot would be reliable, I guess, but they are consistently detonated as like a proximity round. It's pretty cool you figured that out. 1 too strong. Hurricane Naval Gun, 2 too strongs. This was the bread and butter gun of the tournament, I think, along with Mark IIs and the Sutters. Mark II is also quite good. Magnetic coils. Just rights, 1 2 weak. Leaning a little on weak. I think its main complaint is going to be the 15-second reload. Mark III's, bit strong, iffy, but 5 just rights. So yeah, overall, real solid pack with a couple of black sheep. But absolutely fantastic work by Chet. The magnetic coil cannon might need a small fraction of its cooldown reduced. Does a lot of damage but cannot track a fast ship and has a long reload. Integrity setting as it is, it has the average lifespan to shoot possibly 1 to 2 shots, then die. Alright. Hello?
Bullshit. No.
Objection?
Yeah. So, like the magnetic coil cannon, right? 250,000 integrity with a 1/8 damage modifier. That's a lot of HP. I don't know.
I can see that.
It's similar to the. So the coil cannon is really similar to Darth's. What do you call it? The macro cannon turrets, and those are super popular. I don't know. They're just. I think they're probably fine as is, and other things. There's just. Yeah. Might be because T4 does too much component damage or something. I don't know.
Maybe. I'd have to query what block HP, but that's not related to weapon core, except for the resistance part, and graph that. And like Max did that one time. Hope that graph is still around.
I feel like that graph caused a lot of HP bloat, but or a lot of modders just saw it and went, I should increase my stuff HP, and then yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that part, but
yeah, we'll see. HP. No, there's an entire penetration system.
So the old stuff is balanced kind of to have similar HP to components that exist in games, such as thrusters and thrusters, reactors, etc., Dark Star shield controllers, etc. So the solution isn't to increase things HP that is too weak, but bring component damage down. The hard part is to bring component damage down and HP down. We keep talking about that, but we never do it. It's hard. And one thing I'm doing right now is filling out a DACA dossier questionnaire that I'll send to monitors to have them tell me stuff that I can then more easily put into the DACA dossier instead of staring at it and then closing the DACA dossier and doing something else.
Hey, Darth.
Maybe sleep. I'm here.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh yeah, I'll post the responses in chat. We're on NHI.
Okay.
Well, the comments of NHI. Pretty solid, except for the Scotty, Jotun Fenrir, and a bit of magnetic coil. Discussion
this
on
being streamed, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is? Okay, never mind. I was gonna say we could just move to general because there's not a whole lot of people here, but if it's being streamed, then never mind.
Yeah, I like this format.
Okay.
Into the big discussion. It's only like 4 packs anyways. Done in like 30 minutes.
Yep. I think generally my thoughts on NHI were reel in the Hurricane and Mark III, but only like a hair. I know that Chet didn't want to increase the points on the Hurricane. And so talked about looking at its damage, dropping it by a little.
Damage or reload, it can be.
Yep. And on
I think it reloads in 5 seconds and does that little ka-ting.
Yep. And then I was gonna think the Mark III could use like another 25, 50 points. I don't know. Not something major. It felt like they were pretty balanced. It was just that those two, and maybe the Gugnir, though it has a specific enough role that I don't know if it was OP, were the outliers that overshadowed everything else, which seemed to balance around each other pretty well.
Yeah, we'll see. Any adjustments would be small points or tweaks anyways. It's a nearly perfect pack.
Mm-hmm.
See. Fenrir's ammo.
On my shit list because I was forced to take 10 of them.
I think this is Max's comics. I think he's the only one who really used them.
You were forced to take 10 of them?
By myself, because they were good.
Oh.
We'll see. There's an interesting phenomenon of that.
Well, so TEC had identified Hurricanes to be a very good weapon before this whole, like this is back around 4.3, 4.4, and they were like one of kind of the
and then they finally
plan
came
to
back
take
around.
And
especially in such a limited
packs.
field, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll just take a bunch of these.
Yeah, and so we're like, okay, what's good? Hurricane. Okay, let's take a bunch of them.
So what was the comment you were about to read off?
Fenrir.
Oh, right. Fenrir's ammo layout is as infuriating and stupid as they become basically useless as soon as shields are down. due to armor and comp damage being on different ammos. I'll never take them again. Yes, this is an emotional and frustrated statement.
I can generally agree with him. When I was using my rotor turret that used them, switching between the ammos seemed bad to do, because like you want, if it was like one's good against shields, one is good against armor and components, obviously you would switch between them, but one is good against shields and components, the other is good against armor, and so once the shields are down, do you even switch ammos? Is there a reason to? Do they have a lot of armor? Well, even if they have a lot of armor, they have a lot of components too. And component damage is the thing you need to break through like a large gyro or a fucking
Yeah, I was about to
Mark
say.
III.
Armor damage is great until you hit a large gyro, and then you don't know you're hitting that. Really, it would be fine if our large gyro wasn't there. Because like, I'm in the reactor room now. Okay, I can tell because I see green smoke. Because the reactors take very little damage before they start smoking. Okay, time to switch.
So you think it'd just be one ammo with decent
Well,
both types of
it's-
damage?
I know that chat made it to be a double ammo setup because to force you to keep switching stuff and thinking about what you're shooting. Is just how do we implement that better?
I think if he wants the anti-armor ammo to be good against armor, it needs to be very good against armor, because currently it is jack shit against shields and components. So why would you switch ammos? And in that case, the other ammo is bad against armor, which all ships have some amount of. So it's bad to use either way, it feels like.
So I think there should be an anti-shield ammo and an the rest of the grid ammo.
If he wants to do that, yeah. I don't know what Chet's vision for it, and I don't want to take control of his mod. I'm just reporting on how they felt for me to use, which sounds exactly like what Max is reporting when he used them on his tank there. So
Yeah, that's fine.
the way to fix them is in Chet's hands. I'm just speaking out loud the feelings that it seems he and I share.
We'll see. He has stated he'd rather be the website jockey than working on mods constantly. Which is fine.
Yeah.
Throw another
Website
second
jockey,
onto the Hurricane reload. 5 to 6 seconds? Maybe.
yeah, just
You're
my
right.
suggestion for chat.
Required changing the sound, but wouldn't be too much. Still, overall,
I think it reloads. I think the sound happens immediately, or I'll have to look at it. It's just adding. You would just be adding a second if you do. You change it.
yeah, pretty good suggestions. Overall, great pack. Except for you, Scotty. Skibbity. Brain rot. MA weapons.
The other half.
The rest of the owl. T1 PDX. It's there. T1 gimbal. It's there. UNN heavy. These are actually part of the MCRN pack, but they're moved over to the MA pack to give them some missiles.
The MCRN pack is like that. That's it.
Yeah.
Despite having increased
they're
their
merged.
speed and tracking and HP in order to make them hit more reliably, especially on faster grids, they still seem to be weak, is the consensus. And I think part of that is due to their how many reloads they have, ironically. When you launch a volley of LRMs at a grid, they have to do something or it's going to be catastrophic. When you're just like suggesting they take some damage from these couple UNNs and I'll be back 4 more times to suggest it again, it feels less impactful than the other like big missiles we have. Like we didn't bring any point defense or flares on TEC because we did not feel the need because we were not threatened by UNNs or MCRNs. Even though their damage, hypothetically, based on the stats, isn't bad.
Oh, we'll take them on the shields.
I
If we don't
have-
have shields, we have a flare.
I
Full
have
flare.
taken MCRNs on a grid with missiles, but I have never taken them alone. I have taken them to launch with other missiles because they're good at catching things. So if I'm a missile boat, I bring them just to like launch at the Bryces or Demon Foxes once their shields are down.
We almost brought an MCRN on Squishy, but we put a Gonkel device instead.
Let's see, MCRN, MA. 350, 125, 4 reloads, 6 reloads. Yeah, I can see. I don't know, these are always kind of the odd ones out.
I like what Demon Fox said. I feel it's possible the only missile that doesn't even need a climbing cost. The two directions we can take it is something like that, where we lean into their role right now. And they're kind of fine if they're not the only missile in the pack, is what I was getting at with my comment earlier. But the other direction we could take it is going back to super limited reloads of like only 2. And making them as impactful as the other missiles, such that
What
you know,
if?
you see them coming out, you have to flare or you have to have point defense to deal with it because it's going to hurt.
What if? Infinite reload.
That's an idea, but then it ruins the change we made to all missiles to stop you
Well,
from
they're not.
turning them to
If
shoot
they're not super
on.
impactful anyway, force people to take more point defense instead
And then,
of just flares.
then people set them to just shoot on, which like
Yeah.
maybe that's fine, but the brain dead gameplay of fly missile, turn shoot on, was what we were trying to avoid by giving them limited reloads in the first place.
Yeah, but
But missile
most people
turrets
didn't do.
already exist, so
Only a few teams did like the brain dead gameplay, quote unquote, because like usually you want to either time it or wait for shields to be down because the reloads are so long anyway.
Hmm.
It was just mainly, like,
Alternatively.
M8s, I think.
Well, actually, let me
Yeah.
get through this. We'll get to the UNN and
Go ahead.
MCRN later.
Yeah.
These are the black sheep of the pack, or corporations. It's not technically part of the same mod, but whatever.
right.
T3 fixed laser actually good, or is this just whatever people put?
It's.
I remember complaints
think it-
about 2-level
yeah,
gimbal.
whatever. I think it's a whatever.
Bad gimbal.
Oh, it's gimbal. It's a 3-degree gimbal. It's
Demon Fox, do they still have the issue where like even if they're in gimbaling range, they won't really aim?
I'll look at its setup. It might have switching targets, which I think does cause issues. I've removed it from a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll look. I'll pull it
All
up.
right.
Part of it could be the AI targeting of the
Yeah, it's
of them,
brain, basically.
and the other part is I think definitely their tracking speed. If we turn that up a little bit, then let
Okay, yeah,
let
this
it
could be-
actually gimbal in those degrees.
This could be a problem here. I see. Let me just zero these out.
That's something to look at to make them viable again.
Yeah, it has a really bad brain. Basically,
bad brain.
I'll fix this bad brain disease. Oh, it can still target projectiles. Huh.
Oh,
I've
huh.
never seen it do that before.
it wouldn't be able to look at them.
You know what? Fuck it. Sure, I don't care. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing it.
All
Don't worry
right, we'll
about
take a
that.
look at that. A lot of it's going to be making these weapons feel a lot better to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tiger, Crouching Tiger, and speaking of that, Tiger, Crouching Tiger, meh, Slinger are basically the same ammos. We'll get to
Slingers
that.
feel better.
Yeah, they're a
Slingers
lot
feel
better.
better because they actually hit.
That is true.
Oh, yeah. they were fine when I brought them in like a close range build, but I just ended up going Hurricanes because they're just better.
And the
I think it's
Tigers
like,
have such high dispersion, and we've gone back and forth between Tigers being OP because they didn't have any dispersion, and being useless because their dispersion is so high you hit 1 in every fucking 10
I
shots.
mean, Bryce killed me in scrims the other day when I was bringing my heal ship with Tiger, so I was like, ah, damn, okay. They're not terrible. It's just I think there's power creep on other weapons, and maybe they stay as is and other weapons be brought down.
No, actually, they're.
Oh,
We'll get to that.
go ahead.
Slinger, T2 PDX, pretty solid. Mostly unused, but 4 people barely use them.
I'm gonna say this, that honestly most of the point defense data in this feedback is null and void. There wasn't anything to use it on. There were the Taidanes, but compared to the actual threat of longswords and phoenixes, I didn't feel like that's a fair
Alright.
They were
test.
either swarmed anyways, or there were just a few of them and you ignored them. It seemed, yeah. Like the
Like I said, there
10,000
were no
black
missiles
jets until
except
down
the
blotting out the sun, or just like 2 dudes orbiting you.
There were no real missiles to speak of because
True.
very few people brought MCRNs or UNNs together, or on their own rather.
Yep, that's going to be the downside of weekly pack selections. If we continue the system, you just won't have the missile pack sometimes, so you don't need point defense.
We'll talk about the
Yep.
We'll talk about the pack system in a minute.
Derico, solid,
Solid.
pretty
I
solid.
think they're solid.
I think they landed in
Cool.
a good spot finally.
There is.
They could use like a love tap upward of like 2 to 5%, but that's the nitpicker trying to get everything perfectly balanced and
I
like they're
think
fine.
they're probably fine as is simply because they're kinetic. They will hit the fast mover and they will kill the fast mover given time if you can just stay within range.
Yeah, they're
they
fine.
don't have PD. They'll
Yeah, they're fine.
they'll attrition them down pretty quickly.
The ghost of Enderoth is still around in the back of my mind saying, fixed Derico.
Take the vanilla missile launcher and then put the Derico missile on it. Easy done.
Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll take out the MCRN and UNN, put those in cold storage, bring the fixed Derico.
Oh shit, yeah, they might.
We'll see.
I don't think taking them out, because like it's the Grim missile compared to the other missiles.
Like I said, they had a role when I could bring other missiles with them.
Alright, maybe not then. We'll see. Gladius Heavy Laser. Classic.
It was just
But
overshadowed, I think.
Overshadowed by the T4. That stupid electric shaver.
I think I hear your fan in the background.
Yeah, it's 80 degrees inside.
Gotcha.
Classic Texas.
Classic.
At 8 p.m. T4, I was finally able to fix the thing where your client just dies when you get shot by it by turning off its deformation, because the T4 fires 5 beams, and each of those beams would deform your armor like once every 30 ticks. And it was just bad. So you shouldn't get sent to the Shadow Realm network-wise. Yeah, again.
Yeah, performance-wise, they worked.
Could you re-enable Crisp or like disable and re-enable it? Because you were fine up until just now for your fan. Like we didn't hear it at all when you talked.
Hello.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's perfect again.
Thank you, Crisp. Very cool.
It just gave up and died. Sweet.
Tigers and Slingers, always a cool gun, but unfortunately they've started losing the damage race against other guns, historically as effective to bring them as point fill. Now it is not efficient enough to meet its point cost. Slingers getting overshadowed by literally every other anti-tank / hull gun due to their limited range. Get to that. While basically dealing the same, if not less, damage than the other options. Actually, never mind. Reduce T4 damage.
That was me saying, don't reduce their damage. And then I went in just a minute before this and said, actually, maybe we should reduce the damage.
Yep, well, T4 is easy to fix now that the weapon doesn't DDoS you.
Yeah.
It's going to be a side effect of the available power from Fusion, which we'll get to. But the Slinger and Tiger, I know what happened here. At 4.1, when we thought we were going to have like a really small compact arena, then we are like, nah, let me put it back out to 20 kilometers. A lot of gun ranges were reduced. And I think these are never put back. Can
I'll go
anyone
look at them
confirm?
right now. I don't. Huh, I'll go look at them.
Sling has been 3.5 kilometers since the dawn of time. Alright,
I'll make
maybe just
sure
better
it's
long range guns came out.
3.5, yeah.
Never
I
mind
think
then.
they're more like they're definitely a light ship's friend, where you put them on a faster and you fly at the bigger ship and shoot them.
Alright, so
It's just
better
not as-
stuff has come out. With better range, better damage. Cool. You can reduce the points, increase the points of the better stuff, reduce the damage of the better stuff, or
After
increase the
getting
range of the
evaporated by a
slingers.
bunch-
What do we do?
After getting evaporated by a bunch, maybe we focus on other stuff coming down to slinger level. Yeah, or the slinger suffer. Yeah, the slinger suffers from the hurricane existing because the hurricane's a big slinger and better in every way. Yeah, I see that definitely being the case because that's the reason why I ended up taking off all of the slingers and ended up just going just hurricanes because it's the price of 2 slingers, and you get basically all upsides. including
I
HP
think this can
medicine.
be fixed entirely through cost.
Okay.
Personally.
Tigers don't feel good. The Tigers need their dispersion to be fixed in some way. Like,
Oh,
we don't need to completely go back and forth between them having crazy dispersion and having none and or pinpoint. We just need to rein it in like a little bit more.
its dispersion here is 1.2, which doesn't feel that much compared to like some other shotgun
Have
kind of
you
weapons that I've
seen it?
seen. Oh, I know, like I can put it down to 1 instead of 1.2 and just see what happens.
We can put it down to 1.1. Like,
We'll see.
That's
Wasn't there also a
so-
point increase from 125 to 150 a while back?
Yeah, because that's because they were fucking cracked somehow or something.
it was that one of them was 125 and one of them was like 175, and then we brought them equal in order to make their points similar, or like in order to bring them together because the slinger was OP at 125, I think, and the slingers were, or the tigers were bad at 175.
Do they not still use the same round? I forget.
They were
Yeah, I
probably
guess they
split
use
out, but I
rounds.
think they used similar stats now.
Yeah, they used to
um,
use the same round. That's right.
When stuff gets this small, in balance-wise, this is where I think we're probably okay. Solid 20% range.
I think as other things get adjusted, they'll just start to shine again. I don't think we touch them necessarily. We just touch the things that are encroaching on, stepping on their toes, and eventually they'll just be good again.
Make it 1.1.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
We'll see. Small surgical stuff. Guys, I'll get to that later. I've been enlightened.
All right.
Bye.
Comments.
Sweden. We'll get to that.
By Sweden.
Solaris Hypernautics.
Bless you.
Same. Saber Chemical Laser. Not really used. This with the anti-armor laser. Impulse Torch. Gimbaled Afterburner idea. Not very used that much. SM3 Counter Battery. Not very interesting. Actually, no, this one was pretty cracked, if I remember right. Counter batteries
just
would.
didn't have good options. I think.
It didn't have good targets. That's
Nope.
the only thing. The counter battery is really good against like
Kind of battery's
the
amazing.
longsword, for example. It's one of the only real defenses against longswords, assuming they're not spamming you with things to distract them. Like, counter batteries are good. They have a use, they have a niche. Good.
Me window ratio.
They're fine. maybe they're
Alright.
too strong. I would like to see them be like
Yeah, we can't judge.
even
Can't-
stronger but limited. I would love to see them in an identical role to flares, except for high HP things like the strikecraft. Like that's the only change I would like to see to them, but I'm not in charge of them. They're not mine. I would like to see them put into the same sort of category as flare,
Persons is
limited
joining.
use in some way.
Hello.
Hello there. I would like to touch on the SM3 as it interacted with fighters in the TT. And that is, it didn't. My team had 4 SM3s altogether, which is not a huge investment in PD, I realize. But I don't believe that they even blunted the strikes from RKD, who, to be fair, were using a lot of fighters.
Oh yeah.
You were in the situation where the use of carriers shouldn't be invalidated by bringing a couple of them, and they weren't, and that's fine.
Yes,
Well, also
that is fine, but
you get multiple strikecraft per bay, and not just one strikecraft per bay. You're not buying like one strikecraft; you buy multiples. So the SM3 will not. Will
I guess
definitely have a harder time against Tildanis.
it was. I'm not saying it was really like super unfair or anything, but it did cause me to consider carefully what the real application of the SM3 is, and also where fighters should sit, because yeah, we got countered, and fair enough, but pretty intense.
Yeah, I saw that you guys threw. No kidding.
Yeah, we did throw though. That's true.
Oh,
Wish I could auto set the matches. Team names, so I'm not looking at red and blue when trying to find a match.
Right.
Who's someone who's
Just kidding,
on
Persons.
RKD? Who was on RKD?
Oh, sorry. Preston, Gage, and the new person. I don't want to get their name wrong. One sec. I think
Bird
they're-
Gallon Rogue.
Bird Gal. Yeah, yeah.
You're there. Oh, this was pretty cool. These horrific hanger models. We'll get to those.
How many strikecraft are per hangar size again?
Like 5 max active, and you have like 30 in reserve.
Well, no, I mean like for each size. The
Two
small
for the
ones,
small.
Oh yeah.
the small ones are 2, and the big ones are 5. Right?
Yes.
What if we made that 1 and 3 and doubled their damage? To make them actually useful. Sorry, we're not in XO yet.
We'll get to that.
What do you mean actually useful? And they beat ASQ is defeated.
Speaking of useful, Gonkel. Right?
I think they're just fine.
So they had
Nice.
self-damage on. Does that self-damage on affect your own shields?
Invalid, you'll have to toggle your thing again.
Really?
Also,
I
yeah,
didn't even know.
self damage being on or off. I didn't even know it was on. I just assumed it wasn't. And you just what you do is you just have a subgrid shoot your shields. That's what it is. You may have seen the Myrmidon one time that I took the Erebos absolutely shred itself apart because the Erebos try to shoot through the subgrids to hit something else and blew itself apart. Yeah. We could just put a minimum time on arming for AoE. So that way
minimum
it'll be
arm
less to
time.
travel.
A minimum
Yeah.
arm time is all it needs. Give it a minimum arm time of like 100 meters and you're fine.
Hello, Nate.
Earlier today. And we moved the muzzle point 100 meters forward of its overall location.
You
which will
could
mean it
do
will no
that,
longer exist. I mean, we already did. Like
That's-
it's
or
already been done.
That's an
That's-
option, I guess.
I suppose.
Wouldn't
'Cause
that like
if you have,
desync the look of it? 'Cause
Yes,
now, like,
I'm also going to bury it. Going to
Oh,
bury
yeah.
30 blocks into my ship.
actually, I'm fine with this, Darth. That's fine.
you want a 100-meter ship? I mean,
Well, I
was
just put it in
also
the
gonna
back
go
of my
do-
ship, and then it fires up.
Well,
the front.
yeah, on a piston subgrid. I'm also going to go and potentially do staging on it to go and give it an inert stage before it goes
100
active.
meters
or a
is
minimum.
only 100 meters is only 40 blocks.
Can I stream here? Oh, I can't stream. I'll just take a screenshot of this. You only need, yeah, it's 100 meters is
It's
divided by
40 blocks.
2.5. Let me take a screenshot of where you actually need to do it. You don't need to do any staging whatsoever. There's a
It's just a
find
stat you
ammo.
can give
Yeah, here we
it minimum arming distance where it won't proc an AoE until it reaches that distance. It's how I do the special ammos on the Nova cannon, so you can't cheese it by point blanking it. The Nova
Yeah.
the Nova
set
ammo
minimum-
but
set arm on hit to true and min arming time. That's in ticks. So you would use the bullet velocity to find out how far you want to go, and then put that amount of ticks. And
Yeah, I can go and fiddle with those variables and stuff.
The
But self-healing was definitely not intended.
and that
Especially
would
not
completely
that way.
remove all the self healing. So
Yeah.
just one
Alright.
changing one. more.
I recommend. You really don't need to set a muzzle 100 feet ahead. That's okay.
Hold on, we
It-
can.
it was a
I can
hard
put this in my
fix.
Citadel.
hold on. We have a new way to
I can cook. No, okay, yeah, go ahead.
I will defeat you, Nate.
No, I hear that, and all of a sudden I start thinking of exploits. So go ahead.
Mhm. Well, along with the staging, arm time, and everything else, I'm going to try to hard code as much possible to make self-healing impossible.
Yeah, that's all you need to do with the arm on hit and min army time.
Yeah, that's definitely the plan.
I'm going
As
to and then I'm going to teleport in front of the bullet with the blink drive.
There you go. That
I will-
fuck.
I will continue to fix the gonkel till it is
That's
unavailable.
brilliant. Give this man a
You-
raise.
this is the one outlier. You can. It's fine.
Yeah, that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But
And any suggestions on the impulse torch or saber that anyone had?
Nobody used them.
Well,
They were a gimmick that nobody tried this time, but that doesn't mean nobody will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody in the council chamber want to say if they tested with them and what they thought?
Person's jump scare.
Yeah. Hi, Anomaly.
hey,
Please don't make a better afterburner and then disguise it as a weapon. Thanks.
I mean, it doesn't do too much damage. Plus, it
No, it's just an
impulses you as an
afterburner.
afterburner. Yeah, it's an afterburner that happens to target the enemy if it's nearby.
Yeah, I just set it to lock its AI or lock
Just
it
turn
down so it
grids-
can't move.
Turn grid
What's
targeting
its
off and you have to burn it
Yeah.
how,
rather
lo-
than
how, lo- how long is it active when turned on?
It has a slow burn, so it does take a while to go and overheat. I want to say it has 5 seconds maximum before it hits the overheat, but it takes like 20 seconds for it to cool down. It's like the old T-44 style, but with a lot of like normal afterburner damage. So it can burn for a while, but it takes a long time for it to be usable again.
All right.
So you can
Interesting.
use it for a while.
Yeah, I
It's
thought
less of a burst; it's more of a slow endurance type afterburner.
so. I didn't
If
bring
use that
them because I wanted to bring the gongle cheese, and I was already trying to show off one thing to see if it would even work. That was actually the first time I'd used it. I was pretty sure other people would be showing the cheese in the impulse torch, but nobody did. So maybe
Yeah.
it's not as good as I thought. But yeah, it was basically, as Person said, it's basically a better afterburner.
Yeah,
Have it fill whatever role you want, as long as it doesn't afterburn better than afterburners per point.
yeah, exactly. That's kind of
Yep.
why, like, it's usable, but it's also not too OP, which is why I guess nobody really brought it. It's basically an afterburner with better endurance and slightly less oomph.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a T-44 that's not cracked.
It
But
does do a lot of damage, but it pushes you away from the enemy.
Exactly. Like, you can use it that way, but you're going to be launched.
it's interesting, at least.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that was pretty good, though, was the Hercules Mac.
Yay. Something that people actually used.
Pretty solid.
I did get some notes from one or two people saying it might be a little bit weak, but I think it got dialed in pretty good, so I think that just might be a little bit of bias on that end.
We'll see.
I'm pretty happy with where it's at.
Gonkel was the last-minute decision from Nate. Told it wasn't meant to target the same grid, but attached... worked to trim as... wasn't meant to target the same grid it was attached to. Worked at keeping shields up. The heat sometimes could not keep up, because healing shields does not heal heat. Which is interesting. Shunts, had to do the weird shunt stuff to actually apply the healing. So there's some tech to it.
Mhm.
I guess, which is alright.
I don't think it would
3
be.
counter blocks.
I don't think it would be nearly as much a problem if the Gonkel was in its original design of heals shields a little instead of heals them completely.
If it didn't
Yeah.
do,
Testing.
because
Undefined.
it's a weapon that does damage, and the damage is just inverted at the very end of the step, what you simply do is you unshunt yourself and set yourself to kinetic resist to get even more
Yeah.
benefit out of it, and you can get like 60 plus million shields every 20 seconds. It's pretty
Yeah, the
good.
original version had like a 2-minute reload, and like nobody brought it. And
Well, back in the day, shield regen was so strong that spending
Mhm.
400 points on a gonkel and not just another reactor was actually the way to
Yeah.
go is just bring more reactor, because shield regen was just so strong, and now that's, as you can see,
Yeah.
it's basically killed. We killed the clean ship regen meme, or not meme, but meta.
Nah, I mean,
Yeah, I could probably go and tap the reload time to be a little bit longer and tap the damage to make it less crazy. I'll
Yeah,
fiddle around with it to see what
I'd-
does.
I would go either. Well, we had the Jotun already with rapid fire continuous regen, so yeah, maybe go long reload.
long
Yeah.
reload or limit its uses.
Yeah,
Easiest way to leave something high impact is to limit its uses. It's like, yeah, you could fully, completely, no trouble, heal your shields to 100%, but you can do it twice or something for
Yeah.
you take.
Alright.
yeah. I've done a little bit of theory crafting, and 3 or 4 might be a sweet spot for it if we went for the limited fire, but just an idea.
The Saber's low range makes it unattractive to take.
Oh yeah, it does have like a 1 or 1.5 kilometer range. I could probably bump it up to 2 or 3 if we're okay with that.
Could be
It
considered.
was meant to be super short range, but the arc emitters had the same problem, where if they're too short, they're simply unusable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bump it up to 2.5, and I'll see how people react in scrims and adjust accordingly.
Fair enough. We'll see how it is. Overall, cool pack. Do you have a logo, actually? Like, have you made a
yeah.
logo in the past you could use for this?
I can whip one up in a couple days and send it in to you guys.
Yeah, that'd be cool. PNG transparent background. Just to
Okay.
make it a little nicer. Still
Gotcha.
missing a few.
Yeah. I'll whip
Otherwise-
one up for you guys.
Pretty good job. You have authorization, I guess, to work on the rest of the pack.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you.
Unique models would be cool if they could all, like,
Yeah.
have a theme. I know this one makes me think of, like, You know that X4 faction? Like the human ship design in X4?
With the Argon.
Yeah, that too. The weird, like, curvy, futuristic.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's been
I don't know why, but this...
I get a,
Terran. Something about
I
this
could-
mod pack made me think of that aesthetic.
All right. Yeah, I could definitely look into that. See if
Not a
anyone's
requirement,
available
but-
model.
If you want, a theme, a design, that might be one cool
Yeah.
idea.
I'll definitely look into that.
Alright, EXO. XO.
I'll drop that then.
Exotic weapons and systems. Small Titan fighter bay. That's the 5x5 cube. Kind of weak, but it was used pretty often. Allegedly. Metal Storm 2070s. Yeah.
They're great for getting the fighters out. Like,
Did anyone use them as counter fighters? No? It's a possibility. Because the fighters can attack other fighters if they're set to grid targeting off, and they'll try to shoot them down. I think the small ones had a auto launch. I don't quite remember. But this whole thing will be gone too at the end of this. Metal Storm. Pretty good. Metal Storm, my beloved. Box of bullets. Artificial Sun Launcher. Pretty good use this
Very
time.
fun.
I was really surprised.
They landed in a fun gimmick.
I would constantly sun launcher Darth by accident and suddenly on purpose. I killed Bryce the other day with a sun launcher. I was just bringing a ship with lasers. Killed a bunch of his thrusters. Saw him drifting away. I thought he was flying away because I didn't know I killed all his thrusters. Launched the sun at him, and he just drifted into it and then exploded. It's probably the best moment ever. But really, they don't do a whole lot of damage. Well, being a fast mover, any kind of amount of damage is really terrible.
Yeah, I was watching people like slingshot around them and like do orbits, which is fun to watch.
They are great. It's just when was it Doug bringing 3 of them, and then somebody else on the other side had 1, so like 4 of them were active at a time. It was like a little bit hectic.
Yeah, we could increase their points explicitly just to see less of them, maybe. But they seemed
Yeah.
fine.
They seemed fun, and I brought one. It was fun when I remembered to use it.
They're a fun
They
weapon,
seemed
and it's
fine.
I think
nice.
they're fine as is. We just need to like wait.
I think this was Aristaeus' first model commission. Can you confirm that?
They were cool. The model's cool too.
It might be the LBX. That's his first model commission, maybe.
Yeah. Good fun. Titan Fighter Hangar Rails.
Alright,
These
when
are the
should I
ones
bring
gonna
this over
have
to Fighter Bay. Sell me on it.
20-something. 20-something in
so-
reserve, I think.
Oh, in reserve, got it.
Then I'm bringing up the testing world.
Yeah, I agree, Demon Fox. I was just more outlining. I wasn't necessarily saying something that should be changed. I was like, well, in the future we should. It was a bit visually cluttered. That's the only gripe I have about it. With there was like they were all synchron. The team did a really good job synchronizing all their suns firing at once instead of. I mean, I guess there's 2 ways to do it. Maybe having a sun up at all times is the best way to do it. I don't know. It was really cool to see.
That weird deflection thing you see when like it goes out then like deflects off toward your velocity vector is a remnant of like the first stage being smart and the rest of the stages not being smart due to a weird workaround I had to do when there's a weapon core bug around, but that got fixed like a month ago, so I should be
I still
able.
noticed it doesn't go anywhere that I want it to. I can fix that if you want, but
That'd
there's
be
a way.
if you could tell me how I could do it. Or-
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. I'll send you a screenshot in your DMs.
Cool, thank you.
Yep.
Tight end fighter, tight end rail. Fighters versus bombers. Thoughts?
I was attacked by both. The bombers definitely did a lot more damage. They actually blew off my gonkle. So
Oh, I didn't notice.
they hurt. Then they rammed me and removed the top. They gave me a buzz cut, removing all 3 large gyros, and but it was the gonkle being removed from the bombers. I think you basically have to be moving. If you're not moving, they're gonna hurt. If you're moving, you're fine.
All right.
It's interesting. I wanted to stay still and shoot the sun and shot call, but I couldn't. I had to keep moving.
So, actually, get to the comments first. Fighters go from not a lot of damage to holy crap, that's a lot of damage, why can't I see my screen? Nothing wrong with them, just large numbers equals effective results.
Yeah, so the idea of a carrier versus smattering.
Lots of HP, impossible to kill.
Yeah, how much? Well,
Tight end bombers are worse than fighters per point, and really? Worse than fighters per point, and way worse than any other gun under the sun. No point in ever bringing.
I guess I don't know how much points they invested into those bombers to bomb me. Maybe it wasn't worth it. I just know I'm being attacked by like a billion bombers and fighters at the same time. And having to find a plate to get them to crash into it.
Alright.
Which longswords don't do.
They...
You can watch the Phoenix, in fact, go around blocker plates.
Really?
I think they try to. Oh yeah, I told the Phoenix to not fucking
watched,
crash into blocker plates.
I have watched them do it.
Yeah, they fan
I
out.
have watched them fly straight at a blocker plate, say, "Oh, never mind," and then take a sharp right and then a sharp left to get back on course and evade it.
I think. Well, I gave it a bit more to like look farther ahead. I think that's the only thing they need to do. But there's so many of them. Maybe that's a bad idea with the Phoenix. Like
the only thing a missile.
One per.
The only thing they'd be able to see is the battery in the center of the blocker plate.
I'll have to look at how the Phoenix and Longsword are set up again. And
maybe I'm wrong. That's pretty cool if that's true.
I've seen it. I must have caught it on camera. I'm sure.
Oh, you did. I know you did, and I know I tested against it. Kind of like they'll sometimes nick a corner, but they do really try to get around it.
I think that there aren't enough things that actually counter fighters. Maybe
Tildani should just target other fighters.
The idea is that fighters should be able to target fighters, and that you could have like counter batteries or maybe laser PD, but those don't seem to be borne out.
Yeah, I made a bunch of laser changes, and then nobody took the PD, so we'll have to do some testing eventually. I keep forgetting to do that.
I would love to have a standardized testing set up for these kinds of situations, but it's going to be...
It's almost impossible to have a standardized testing setup for like how do fighters in point defense and in various amounts and circumstances work, but that doesn't mean we can't test.
Yeah, exactly. But on the state of the tight end hangers and fighters and these big boxes that are bright, Consti has given us add his entire pack, not just hangers. Yeah, so I'm thinking...
Wait, that's really tiny. How big are the fighters?
Good question.
I was like, that's a conveyor port. Are the fighters one conveyor port big? Huh.
Pretty small. I think he scaled stuff down. to
they might
be
scale
more.
up once they get far away. Do they? Because the Phoenix starts at half size, and then once it's like 100 meters away, it pops to the big size.
Oh yeah, there's an anomaly.
Um,
Just wanted to go and say I did have a couple drone assets that I haven't really touched yet, including Warp Beacon for a couple Star Wars frigates, as well as a Eve style drone hangar I got from Relic a while ago. Uh, if there is interest in it, I do have a few ideas for them. If you guys are open.
Well, if you want to experiment with Strikecraft and drones, you have a pack to
I know,
put
but
them in. So if you build something to put in Soul for us to test for adding Strikecraft to Soul, sounds
Yeah.
fun.
You know what? That
Yeah,
would be
a
the perfect
couple-
vehicle to test the drone advanced logic set of approaches.
Oh, absolutely. I've looked into them before, but I found like basically no like readmes or tutorials or anything like that when I looked into it a couple months ago. So
Yeah.
if you guys already have that, perfect.
We'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, just
Thank
want
you.
to let you guys know I did have a couple assets I'm open to using.
So yeah, Consti's given us permission to, use all his stuff. He's got the returning. I basically gave him our entire Homeworld pack.
oh, how do you get the returning thing to work?
I have no idea.
Damn, I'll have to look at it. All right, because that'd be great for the Phoenix to do that. Cool.
The only
Yeah.
thing the Phoenix would still be missing, right?
Ooh, that's really cool.
Would
It's
be
got small aesthetic, and he's got like every faction: the Vagar, the
oh wow.
Titani, Higarin,
If-
even some
fuck
like
yeah.
cool guns.
The fixed magnetar. No kidding.
He's got his own category, but yeah, we can look through it. These will be a lot better than just throwing stuff into the exotic pack. They have like actually exotic stuff in the exotic
Yeah.
pack.
A Homeworld pack
Yeah.
Yeah,
could be neat.
we can put the Homeworld torpedo ammo from the Tridents onto something. Or, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun to make. And it'll look really good. Could even do a Homeworld themed event.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All access. Ship you. Oh wait, hold on one sec. Let me switch
Yeah,
over.
you're still streaming Space Engineers.
All right, so the Teldani Interceptor is 250 HP. Where's the Teldani Bomber?
All access. Ship Utilities Corporation. Now,
Oh,
faulty.
One second. Yes, the Toldani bomber has 4,000 HP, which might be why it's impossible to kill.
And the fighter has 200.
250. The longsword is like 1,000.
The longsword has
Phoenix has, like,
1,000, but
800.
then a threshold of like
That's true,
200 before it starts running away, right?
yeah. That could. Both of them have like 100, 200 damage threshold of. I'm under fire. Run away. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, that's easy fix. Maybe just reduce 0, bring it to 400, and we'll see what that feels like if they just blow up way too fast. Then yeah, easy fix, basically. Remove it a single 0 and then observe.
Yeah, we'll see. The stats for Consti's stuff will have to be looked at because they're, survival. But then
Right.
again, they were also based off of our stuff, so
We'll see if he has 4,000 HP as well.
all access
All
ship
right, sorry.
utilities.
Go ahead.
Faulty solid rocket booster. Pretty good. Det pack TM registered. Cool.
Good weapon decoy.
All the afterburners, classic as usual. Blink drive. So okay, I am on the verge of figuring out that blink, like, misfiring thing. And it's
Oh,
stupid.
like
And
it
it only
rubber banding?
happens... no, not rubber banding, the thing where you press the blink and nothing happens.
Ah.
It only happens in multiplayer, it only happens in... it's a dumb condition, but I found consistency, and I'm on the way to fixing it. Along with
Okay.
the repair. I don't think I have the build repair listed for some reason. Anyway, the repair, I
but
finally found the reason why the repair module does not save its settings. It's the RCS block. Why? That's a work in progress, but it has been found to interfere with build and repair saving its settings. I have no
Okay.
idea why. Something with the lists of entities it affects, maybe, is what I'm guessing. But I was like, literally, just before I started the balance cancel, I spray from a bunch of logging and I was going to test that. So it should be fixed by next time. Finally.
Okay.
2 times a dampening enhancer. Someone says it's too strong?
That's me.
Is that someone here? Hello?
Yes. Also toggle your thing again. Discord died. The dampening enhancer, very good for dodging. It lets you dodge way better. That's it. It's just quite good for letting you do that. That's why I just said too strong, but I
Alright.
don't expect anything to change. But that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, we'll see. Custom turret controller. CTC did see Preston's thing. Darth. I think that was his ship.
MCE had it too.
I brought CTCs to a bunch of scrims, but I didn't feel that the Hercules or Fenrir's were good enough to bring it, but I had a lot of fun with them.
The invisible sun, Preston giving himself an invisible sun was quite funny. The invisibility thing only happens when the server has the gun lined up and your client doesn't, so your client never gets the fire check. And even if it did get the fire check, it would miss.
That is a solid... I'm like 90% sure that's correct. We just need a testing setup, and it's going to be multiplayer only, so that's going to take a while to set up.
We would put a Hellfire laser on a CTC and then the unit test and have it just fire forever so we can see if it like ticks around in degrees or like just see what it is doing.
Yep.
So
Might be projectiles only. Any lasers that are invisible on CTCs? Can you remember?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
actually, that's what we need to find out. Currently, all the lasers that are fixed are really short range, and thus, when you're close, it seems like the syncing and network handling is a lot better, and that you don't have visible shots.
This goes all the way back to when Weapon Core was in development in like 2019, 2020.
This ultimately goes back to Keen with their syncing for grid rotation between players and not being down to like the millirem or radian.
True, but Keen does force hard sync every entity and projectile, which is why the game runs like crap.
Yeah. Well, they don't do that good of a job of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because Weapon Core turrets have great rotation syncing, and thus that's why there's not invisible Weapon Core turret shots. And that's also why fixed guns appear to miss when they don't, because the barrel simply
they're
point
based
is
on the
somewhere
grid
different
rotation.
on your client compared to
Yep. Radar warning
Goes
receiver,
back.
RWR. A box that beeps. Can't get any more simple than that. Sauron Radome. Wow, not overpowered. Bros, have we done it? The
Yes.
radar is finally balanced. Flares? People think they're fine. 2 shots. We'll see. Not much competition against missiles. Metal foam. I like it. Blast plates. This will be the post Hello, Anomaly.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, having had a couple tournaments with the Nate tested blast plates, and
Oh, we had one.
didn't we have it active for 4.6 as well?
No,
Okay,
it
well,
was push
between
after
the
that.
okay, well, between the scrims and the tournament, I've heard uh fairly unanimous what the hell happened to my blast plates. So I will not be returning them to their original strength, but I will definitely look for a mid ground that's not OP, but definitely actually has reasonable durability.
The biggest change they
Hopefully I can-
have is being moved from a component to a armor.
No, that's
Well, they're
they're
they are a magnitude less durable.
yeah.
The
Right, right.
yeah
Volume based on Buster Block or assumed Buster Block. Maybe it'd be like 1.2, 1.5 Buster Blocks. But, you know.
Well, they're at 1.2 or well, so
yeah super fluffy and easily punched
so
through. Like
I've used so the actives seem to live well, at least okay on my grid in
it's the
scrims.
biggest.
The actives live a long time, and I thought it was pretty good until I've like taken concentrated fire from Chet weapons. But otherwise, from other weapons, not Chet weapons, they seem to do fine.
Well, the blast plates currently do fine for like a quick hit and run, but not for any real combat. Like a flyby from a fast mover, you can survive with blast plates as is, but any real damage
Well, I
will
have
punch through them really quick. Like
so I have like 3 layers of heavy armor, then a blast plate behind that, and then on one of my grids, I have 2 blast plates with 3 layers of heavy armor between each of them before my core, and that seemed to do pretty
well, yeah,
great
because you're
actually.
layering several blast plates.
Yeah,
So why not just have a single blast plate that's tough?
because the single blast plate just buffs small fast movers.
I mean, that was kind of the idea, so that way you're not just
Why?
punching little
No,
holes.
kill.
I'm not gonna make them as strong
They
as
don't
they once
need to
were,
be
but
buffed.
We'll
okay.
have a debate on that later.
Anyway, sorry, not.
We're
not
just going to have to
blast plates,
look
fast
out
movers.
for stacking resistances, especially with SI. That's where the stuff gets, oh, he's literally unkillable. Great, awesome.
Okay.
Might as well Alt F4.
Okay.
So we'll see. I personally like the thing being tied to logic, like, yep, that is 1.2 times the area in Buster Blocks. Something familiar. Not
I
just...
think we could probably remove the. So I gave them like a 5-point tax. So it's 30. It's 10 Buster Blocks. So that'd be 30 points. So let's make it cost 35 just to hedge. And maybe I didn't need to do that. It could just be 30.
We can make a thread of that on the modder board
Okay.
and post our thoughts
Well, you
about
see anomaly. They're not anomaly. You see Demon Fox.
Yep.
It is a single entity which can be repaired all at once by the build and repair. So it is kind of better in a way.
Does the build and repair work flawlessly?
Yeah.
When you set it up right, you just have to make sure to check the ignore armor button, because they technically are not armor, but they are armor to weapon core.
Amazing.
And
Anyway, as
something to look at.
the hotly debated topic isn't actually blast plates this time. It's going to be fusion. Blast plates, we'll get to that. That's easy. Big armor box.
Yeah.
The fusion reactor system, which has its hands in a lot more than you expect, because it's what allows T4s to be used so much. It's what allows big, scary bubble shield number. Oh no. But I think it's really cool. Like, I pulled out the spinal column of Winfield's ship, and it looks like an actual nervous system. It's great.
I thought you hated the brain. No kidding. Or the hamburger. Cool.
I can't help Crisp. You're just gonna hear the fan. I'm sorry.
It sounds good again.
I hate the Antichrist.
It just breaks every 5 minutes because it's really struggling, I guess.
Anyway, this is cool. I know about the thrusters. That was left for way too long. That was a mistake. We'll take a look at that. They should have a at least less placeholder thrust cone. And in general, Aristeas, are you there? Do you want to talk about heat? Hello. Oh wait, hello.
Hey nerds. Alright, so Fusion Systems. They're fucked. And it's all my fault. The biggest problem right now is that they play really weird with shields, just as a result of how he is set up. I'll save you the boring details, but it makes a feedback loop where defense shields think so there's more power available than there actually is. And the best way to fix that is to rework heat entirely. Two ways to go about it: either strip it out entirely, or make it a pure negative rather than the balanced negative and positive that it is now. An example of that would be if your heat hits 100%, you start taking damage on your reactors, or they shut off for 2 minutes or however long. What are y'all's thoughts on those?
I think that the biggest
weren't talking
mistake.
about shield heat. You were talking about your heat.
Yes, waste heat from Fusion Systems.
The biggest mistake I made with the fusion system was to call it fusion juice. That completely threw any amount of like reality you could grasp to. Of like, oh yes, I have resource and it gets converted to heat when it's turned to power, right? Then I called it, oh yeah, the fusion juice gets turned to power. No, it's not like that. The second mistake was no documentation. I should have written this wiki article on like anything basic. What we did was, yeah, this is a work in progress system. Don't use it, it's complicated. And that isn't really gonna work when it's actually really good and cool. That was a mistake I made. So this time, I'm gonna have a documentation, example systems, and a heat system that makes sense. Ideally. On your question of, yes, the question is, well, I guess you could give a quick rundown of what you want it to be. Active management, right?
I suppose I can. So the founding principles behind Fusion Systems is that I shot up a whole bunch of drugs into my veins right before I play StarCore, and it's really boring only holding W on my keyboard. I want to have bars on my screen that move up and down. To put it in a more serious manner, I think that the vanilla systems for power are boring, and StarCore could use a bit more opportunities for technical players to nerd out on random things,
Pretty good.
both while building and while actually playing the game.
So your inspiration was, I want a one-to-one. No, your inspiration was not, I want a one-to-one fusion reactor from my Minecraft mod, which is my inspiration. Your inspiration was, I want good gameplay.
Yes.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think heat should be more of a, so it doesn't give you a bonus. It's only when it gets like above 50%, start reducing the power you're generating, and that would fix the idle stuff.
Unfortunately, that would still cause the idling problem. It can't
How?
touch power at all.
Bros,
Basically.
well, make it not touch power, but the fusion juice or the fusion loop production, maybe.
that also affects power, unfortunately.
Would you prefer managing?
One random idea that I thought of was making high levels of heat reduce the amount of power going into storage.
I liked the damage idea,
Yeah, I like the damage idea too, but
especially because it's
I'm
pretty easy to then throw up the fusion reactor's health as a percentage on the UI as well.
ooh, I like that idea actually.
And
What if
then that's something
fusion
you can manage,
parts?
like, because it has to be in that case scaled by how much heat, because otherwise you would just max out
Yeah,
if it was a flat amount, and if that flat amount was manageable with a hand welder, that's exploitable. But if it was
Darth, no.
scaled, if it's scaled based on the amount of heat, the
Damn
damage it's doing, then you could overheat a little bit if you babied it with the repair priority on the repair module, or hopping out with a hand welder if it gets too low. But
Yeah, that now that you say putting the HP of the reactor on the HUD, that's a great idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
because as long as it's not
That
like,
changes
oh,
everything.
why have I died? Why are my reactors off?
Why are there explosion particles in the middle of my ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, you might want to do it as a percentage of its functional HP, or put its functionality down to the very bottom of the block anyways.
Yeah, so you have a big dynamic range.
I wouldn't make it escalate too hard. I would maybe have it escalate like gently logarithmically.
All right.
But
100% to work with, and maybe it can overheat for 30 seconds at a moderate amount or something. Yeah, and then you have to like really repair it. I don't know.
From my
5%.
Modern Minecraft and Space Station 13 experience, I understand reactor as thing get hot, more power into turbine. Fusion is thing get hot, less efficiency. Do you still want get hotter, less efficiency?
That's okay. I want to leave it as it is, but it doesn't play nicely with existing systems, and it's a lot harder to change those existing systems than it is to change fusion. So that's what we're doing.
All right.
So when you,
I like it.
by the way, when you say can't touch power, what do you mean by that?
Keen power sync. The perfect
Keen power sync.
keen requesting of power for you go ahead, SJS.
So it creates an unfortunate feedback loop where defense shields only draw power whenever they're charging, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. And fusion heat only increases whenever power is being used.
Yeah.
So as the fusion reactors fuel the shields as they approach 100%, everything works fine until they hit 100%. Then heat starts to drop off, and the power that the reactors can produce increases.
Yes, I'm just saying, why is it set up that way instead of like power? You just set it to have a higher percent power and then have it only decrease from there instead of power really increasing a lot when you have really low heat. Like it increases a lot.
Because people will start at around about 0% power, sorry, 0% heat, and they'll have 100% power generation
It's
potential at the start of a
more
match.
like
So it'll be very misleading. They'll like double the amount of shields they would actually have in reality.
well, it's more like 200. Well, more like 130 to 150% power generation at idle, and then and you could keep bumping it up slowly, infinitely if you really had the time of patience. But um, and when I'm in combat, at least with my ship, with 140 radiators or 200 radiators, I almost really never have more than 20% heat. It's always really, really low. And so, like, I never really see my power, my heat bar get really high.
All right.
It's just
Well,
when it goes above 1% heat, my shields fall off because it can no longer boost to 150%.
either way,
And I think if you just like remove that part and just had it instead of gaining, able to like cheese and gain power, if you were just able to okay, it's you're between 0 and 50%, you're fine on power, but once you get above 50% heat, you start reducing there instead of having it go all the way down to 0, all the way up to 100. That's
If
just
if someone
terrible.
were to have their idle heat at like 75% or whatever,
How?
the issue would still occur.
Just don't have any heat. Easy. Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's that
that's
easy.
I mean,
yeah. I
my
guess
idea of a perfect reactor system is a slider. You set the temperature that you want, and the reactor has a PID that attempts to reach that temperature. And if it takes damage or you screw around with it, it explodes, or overheats, or shuts down. Because, like, again, Delta V, you can overclock your reactor to like 5,000 Kelvin. But if you, like, buy shitty control rods, they'll take too long to cool down the reactor and you'll take damage. That is peak gameplay, in my opinion.
how do we buy shitty control rods?
I don't know. This is Aristas's fusion system, in which
Okay.
he likes bars being managed.
My thinking with having it as quote unquote automated as it is that someone's going to make a program block script for it anyway. May as well remove the noob trap.
Alright. Well, I have some ideas. Thank you for making this system. This is the stuff that will propel space engineers into an actual video game. Allegedly.
I
Are
like
saying
it.
this.
I don't use it, but I like it.
It's too stressful to use. I just use regular
Yeah.
power. I take a single point of damage and I'm dead. Nah, I just use regular power.
I don't
Although
know.
I guess you undid the loop bonus, so
I have never made a viable fusion ship, just for the record.
I think I fought a few of your quote unquote viable fusion ships that were just like 30 million shields or something.
Yeah, it's because they're
Back in the
fast
day.
movers, and fast
Yeah.
movers are kill.
Alright. Responses. Fusion system kinda cringe, not gonna lie. Wow. Fusion reactor system was solid. Had to slam it with 4 T4s, 2 for me and 2 from the rest of my team, to take one down their shields. May prove to be a problem for future TTs due to the huge amount of shielding it offers. That was addressed. We got lucky in our fights due to having hit scan weapons with consistently firing damage to heat up shields. Would be scared to see what happened if we didn't have T4s to handle them. With some polishing and some models, more in line with the... I'll get to this one. Doing fusion relevant ones now. Polishing and some models, more in line with the vanilla SE aesthetic. Really, I think they fit pretty well. Fusion would take Buckshot by storm.
I don't think
Okay, maybe like 2014
they're-
Space Engineers aesthetic.
Yeah, they fit in with that, but I don't know. They are placeholder models that got grandfathered in for the most part. The reactors
Grandfathered
in
in, you
Vault,
made
you did
the
really good with it.
models. Oh, okay.
Very cool standalone mod, he thinks, but does not fit in StarCore because it introduces a whole load of power, shield, and now thrust balance, which could be avoided. SI Field Gen is just too difficult to properly balance around in the long term, but as long as Fusion exists, it has a place. It's an interesting... So I guess Fusion ships would prefer shields, and SI would be the counter to that. Is that what he's saying?
I guess, yeah.
I think it's cool to have a dichotomy like that. Just
Yeah.
not be literally invulnerable.
I'm very happy that my idea of tossing the SI gen back in and making it climbing cost with shields work. I'm gonna say it worked, and I'm gonna say I'm validated.
It
And no one can tell
works.
me otherwise.
Yeah,
I think maybe we can bring down the climbing cost from 2,500 to 2,000,
Totally.
and it would still be astronomical and stuff like that. But that's a whole other conversation, which we're in balance council is the time to have. But
Number one priority is going to be setting saving, which I bet is going to be released, or at least related to the RCS weirdness with the repair block. So finally, an actual hook on that. So not having to drag a slider every single time you pace down your ship would be great.
I'm glad I
Does
didn't
anybody-
forget in one of the matches.
So we have RCS, and it's causing an issue. Does anybody use it? I know we have it because Muzzle want it, but Muzzle's not here. Do we still need it? That was causing this issue.
I use it on
I'm
my
just
ship
asking
to
the
turn
question.
better, especially when I'm taking damage. It's a very cool backup system.
Okay.
2 comments on blast plates for pointless and nerfs smaller ships only, and blast plates could use a cost reduction. We'll take a look at that. They'll probably be given HP equivalent to like 1.4 buster blocks. I really want to avoid, 10 million unkillable shield
I think
wall.
just upping their durability back up to be more substantial is fine.
Which is cool.
I
But
mean, the
Anomaly
changes
did.
were like, you take 3 blast plates to get like the original 1 blast plate. You just put 3 of them. You can kill them 1/3 at a time instead of something that repairs itself all the way back up to the top.
Yeah. Either way, Anomaly had a cool idea with this. I like them now. Especially the variants. They look good.
It's really nice having some more interesting armor mechanics
Yeah, I can
now,
put-
like the SI gen and blast plates and buster blocks.
Like I was able to form fit like a bunch of 2x4s. Like I can take blast plates now instead of just putting the 1 down and then being like, well, that's it. But I was able to put like, okay, my hydrogen's really exposed. Let me
You can
put
actually build
2
with them.
3x3s and then 2 5x5s, and then that's it. Yeah.
It's time for your 1 state mandated blast plate.
No.
No Anomaly. Hello. Hello.
He's muted.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
He is not muted.
Just a quick shower thought that I got when you guys were talking about it. What if we kept the smaller, like 3x3 and 2x4s as is, and only tried to go and ramp up the larger ones like active and possibly bringing back the reinforced and gigaplate,
I think
properly balanced, of course.
probably active self repair. Maybe
Uh,
bring back the reinforced one that's also the 5x5, and then just
Yeah.
ramp that one's HP up, and then have it like climbing costs and stuff, and then
Yeah.
we can like go from there.
Yeah,
I think it's probably fine to just bring it up from like 1.2 to 1.4 and see where it lands, and then
I think just reduce the
do a tournament,
battle
and
point.
it's fine.
I don't know.
I wouldn't want to reduce the battle points.
yeah. I
But
wouldn't
the
want
battle
to
points
do
are
I
that.
there
know.
to
I
be
know.
moved.
Anomaly wants them to be back a little bit
Okay.
toward their durable side. So
Yeah, points aren't where I'm worried about. It's their durability. Like the smaller ones, if you can form fit them for like more usage, I'm fine with them being weaker because that's kind of their whole point. But the bigger ones were more meant to be pen protection. So having them be slightly stronger tissue paper is still kind of not where I want them to be at. But 1.4, we can kind of play around with that.
All right.
I mean, the
I
3x3
gotta-
and 4x4 are like
I gotta head out in like
ahead.
25 minutes, so I do want to get through the rest of the comments. But yeah, it is your mod. It's a very cool asset. I think after this change, they'll be dialed in. I have a feeling.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Just needs a couple love taps and we should be there.
All right. What are your thoughts on the modular fusion? Well, we went through this, but the general populace's opinion is not a fan. Others seem to like using it. Super strong hit scan weapons are virtually the only answer when attached to faster lighter grids. Heavy firepower turrets fired from multiple ships are effective in heating up the tanks that use fusion. Effective to use, tough to deal with. Fusion thrusters. Yep, that was a mistake. They need an actual burn radius, which has been given to them. Believe it's overcomplicated for what you get out of it. This is due to the complete lack of documentation, which is a mistake and will be
It
fixed.
could also just be you're trying to make an 8 750 ship. In that case, with regular weapons instead of using T4s, and which in that case, yeah, you don't get a whole lot out of it if you're just trying to make a regular amount.
And it's good that we're seeing this kind of comment on it.
You really gotta go for 6 or 7 gigawatts or bust, basically. And once you
Yeah.
hit there, your shields are super good, and you can take T-Force.
Cool. Fine pending any shield changes. We shouldn't need... We'll get to that. Thoughts on the rotational speed cap? Yeah, that's probably going to be left out. The idea for that thing was like any arcade game, you boost, you turn slower. But that just ended up with like bad client feedback of your ship just locking up. So that'll be kept out.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the recent changes to shields? Not too recent, we've had them for like 3 or 4 tournaments now. I think shields right now are balanced. Meh. As long as the shield system, yeah, this is important. As long as the shield system doesn't change more than once or twice a season, I'm content. It's difficult to play the game if the shields keep being tampered with. Yep, we'll have to agree. Nate's heat change solved the literally invulnerable with fusion power thing. Right now they're a bit weak, but
I haven't touched them first because we haven't gotten through all the weapon packs, and it would be kind of unfair. I have like some ideas, but also I haven't touched them because, well, there's fusion sitting there, and if I make shields good for fission, everybody's going to tell me they're way too strong because somebody's going to take a fusion ship and then be, yeah, it's.
yeah. We'll see the fusion
Yeah.
rework first, and then test shields. And see what we think. Does
Yep.
that sound good?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll leave them as is for now.
Yeah, I would suggest whenever you do go to balance edit shields, don't balance them around fusion, balance them around vanilla.
That's what I'm planning on doing. I
Yeah,
haven't
like
done it though because I don't want to think about fusion. When I do, I just go, oh no, I
don't
can't
think
buff
about
anything.
fusion. Like, just don't even think about it. You can
Alright.
yell at me, but don't think
Well,
about it.
Yeah.
Ooh, here's an
it's
interesting
just-
opinion.
Go ahead.
Want to continue on, sorry. I despise
leave.
the siege mode of the SI field gen. It's not a bad addition without siege mode, but with siege mode just makes the games I have played unfun. Feels like they're immortal, and once you turn your back to retarget, they can use the on-off thing to reset and begin firing at you.
Yeah, they can shoot you in the back.
Also mention this, hangars have already deployed their fighters, gets around the, oh yeah, that's true, gets any smart wood. Clever. They can even retarget.
Yeah. Longswords are, well, so with Phoenix and longswords, that's not too much of an issue because they exist. They have limited ammo and they fly right back. Usually it's like less than a minute. Like they shoot either 6 nukes or 7 bursts of laser and then come back. So with Tildani though, where they're out for so long, that would be a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally Halo Reach armor lock.
Yeah,
Which,
Halo Reach Armor Lock. I was about to say that, which is fine. Nobody hated that because it was seconds, and you just waited for them to get out of it, or you had teammates around who could push them off of you, and it was actually a life-saving thing, but it had to be used within seconds. 2.5 fucking minutes is absurd,
Yeah.
and I've been saying that.
Yep.
Yeah.
now
think
that
everybody's
it's a
been agreeing
modular
with-
system, the old one can be phased out, the one block one. A lot more can be done. Whether it can be changed into, I don't know, a module that changes into a parry that lasts for 5 seconds and has a 1 minute cooldown. Definitely bring that low end or high end. I'm not sure how much chat wants to continue maintaining it, but I should be able to fix any of the remaining settings issues, so the feedback is useful.
Yeah, it's just like shields have fortify and structural integrity of their own. It's like, what is an active system the SI gen can have? I like siege mode for that. I agree that it's bad because
You have to
It's-
retarget. They can
it's
come
absurd.
out of it at any time. Yeah.
It's absurd how long it is.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask about it with Chet and see if he wants to change it or maintain it. If not, then it's an entirely server-side config thing he gave us.
And you have to bring this one gun from this one pack called the Nova Gun to counter a tank going siege. Yeah.
No
Darth
kill liquor.
owes me feet pics for my annual membership to TEC.
Is
Thanks
this
to every
true?
competitor that participated. Cheers Invalid and Darth for streaming. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
I've improved my streaming.
Yes, you have.
I figured out and got working multi-streaming to Twitch and StarCore. We set up a StarCore Twitch channel, and I also got myself a virtual desktop plugin so I can face cam and have a background without having to buy a green screen.
Cool. Yeah, this
Yeah.
takes care of the please have the stream up for the TT starts. Yep. That will
Yep.
get better.
I mean, I still have a child. This time I started up the stream 10 minutes late because I was driving home from dropping him off at the sitter.
That is
The
true.
test tournament starts when the streamer. That's kind of always been the case. Like when muzzles up there, freaks out. Yeah. It's kind of always been the case. It's kind of what it is.
ASQ will actually try next time. You'll see. Like a Demon Fox, very cool. Alright, and the hottest take. Ahem. It's no wonder why teams and players keep leaving. Very hot.
Cool.
Not 100% wrong. Definite burnout occurring. Do you feel that? I don't know, it's an anonymous
I
server.
mean, what do you want me to say?
Yeah, you know,
Um,
pretty emotional, but
Feedback.
this is the thing I was worried about, is the cycle of a competitive PvP community not being able to, I'm going to use the buzzword diversify, of where it's just stuck in the same thing of fight each other, round-based, fight each other, and like, you worry about so many things, people get burned out, the modders get annoyed. The same thing happened to Space Station 13. I could write a book about all of that stuff. So the solution for that is, of course, consistent events, more interesting events.
Also, test tournaments. Those are like the bread and butter. People
Yep.
want to have those, and I think some people were just like, I'll skip this one because the weapon they like their favorite weapon wasn't in. So I know 2 people that have said that to me.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at the weapon pack selection, which will have to do with another thing. So the 3 main issues are, well, let me give a timeline actually. I've been given a hard date for the Zoklu Subvival series, continuing.
Mhm.
It is early to mid-October. Okay, you give me 3 dates, which is not a very hard date, but like October 4th, October 12th, or something else. Zok is never consistent, but that's as close as we're going to get. I'm going to be working on that in addition to starting school. I have like
Good
12
luck.
credits to get through. That'll be fun. Should be done like early next year though. Finally. So I will have less time to do major overhauls and changes. I'll still be around, obviously. Git committing. As you can see here, it's all green, Lamau.
Nice.
But if people have had stuff on the back burner, like Spartan's extra large blocks idea for a fight, or another themed fight, like Homeworld, maybe. Another 40k one. Now's the time to bring those out. Because I'll be pretty occupied for this month working on the other scenario, school stuff.
Hey, Bryce, do you want to make videos? Cool.
Oh, cool.
You can do really good videos. I love his videos.
I remember that UOD ad for the one. Oh, I should put out a contest for that actually.
Are you gonna be the, I think,
What?
fourth person to make me empty promises that you're gonna make videos?
Oh no.
Anomaly was a godsend, and the only reason why the last like 4 tournaments that are uploaded got uploaded. We worked together on that, but he did 90% of the work for those. I know, Demon Fox. It's fine. I don't hold it against you.
Yeah, you do. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, obviously, outreach, people being able to watch the stuff that we've done. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. The Zoc Survival series, I have a big document on it. You can read it here. It's going to be the biggest advertisement of StarCore we can do. Probably like this year. In a star that isn't quite StarCore, there are definite elements like the reduction of the pain of managing a character, round-based like events, ship design using the point system. That, like those basic elements are like universal, and I think will be really fun and get a lot of people in, which is why I want to work so hard on this particular scenario.
Okay. I have been holding off until we were stable and not crashing, but I have emails to space engineers, content creators in the chamber.
Oh yeah.
That is the perfect scenario. We could
Any
advertise.
crashes?
Yes, that's a third thing. So yeah, I'm going to work on a that scenario for this month. We'll be busier than usual. Should have consistent events still, ideally. If not, then I will run like 7 or 8 team TTs like usual. The crashing. This is related. So, remember what I said? We could add a Consti's Homeworld pack. We actually can't, the current way we're doing things. We've hit the limit of the potatoes like 4 months ago. And I think the weird threshold is the size of the skybox. Like, I don't know, like, we have a pretty good looking skybox right now. It's exported from Space Engine. It's like 400 megabytes because it was encoded in a certain way. On the other skyboxes that are a little bit less resolution, that are 96 megabytes, I think we have less freezes.
Huh.
And only I've noticed this because only I've looked at the skybox file sizes. And I think that means we've hit the RAM limit for some people.
Huh.
And when you load into a Space Engineers game, you are loading all of its assets into your RAM. Or at least the textures or the models, I'm pretty sure. They might be on demand. Programs like Process Lasso, which is recommended for using,
Very recommended.
will clear out that standby RAM. But if you have other stuff up in the background, it'll just freeze the thread and you'll die horribly. So I put out a modpack file size report card on the GitHub issues. We're going to need to reduce the modpack file size to free up RAM. That means getting rid of unused assets, unused texture atlases, unused sounds.
Okay.
And if that doesn't help, we're going to need to like have only 3 or 4 or 5 weapon packs in the actual build world at the time. Like for a couple months as we do stuff related to them.
There's a bunch of stuff in the 40k pack we're not using from Tyranids and Necrons to easily pull out of that.
Kill it.
Yeah. There are a lot of sounds like the RX, bunch of old RX sounds from when we still had their weapon pack. The texture atlases are going to be huge, agonizingly huge, so we're going to have to go through and clean those out. I need to drink water.
Do it.
20 kilometers. Is that still in?
Or else make it so.
So yeah, the number one thing is going to be helping people out with less good computers. There's going to be a limit though. Highly recommend you put Space Engineers on an SSD. Any SSD, they're like $20. You can get them right now. I will send you $20 to buy an SSD if you need one. Just get an SSD. It will triple your loading times. Aristeas was actually messing around with a plugin that multi-threaded loading of mod scripts, which was really interesting.
I can't play Total War Warhammer 3 now without an SSD. That game's load times are insane, and switching from hard drive to an SSD many years ago was like, holy shit. I no longer have to walk away and do workouts between battles.
It's seriously like $40. I know that's like more than 3, but it's so worth it just for the sheer quality of life.
Yes, it will. It's probably the only recommended system requirement I can give to StarCore. That will be reasonable.
Anyway, yeah, Invalid
Um,
mentioned the plugin I was working on. It's not ready for public use yet, but so far I managed to trim 15 seconds off of both mine and Nevermore's loading time consistently.
Neat.
I tried to
Going
look
from-
into multi-threaded model loading. Multi-threaded model loading. Unfortunately, those assets are done on demand, I think.
It's a horrible idea. What if we had a thread constantly going that just loaded every single model?
We'd run out of RAM.
Fuck.
Wasn't that the whole issue?
Well, I guess that was a horrible idea. Thank you.
We'd run out of even more RAM.
Maybe we could scan the subtypes of every single. Oh wait.
What?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally fixing the Sharp DX crashes, or at least significantly reducing them, and the decal crash, has gotten a weight off of my soul. Finally. I know at the end of the day, it's all Keen's fault.
Well done for that, man. That's pretty impressive, actually.
He Have we reached your hard cutoff 3 minutes ago, Invalid?
Yep, that's all the time I have for me, pretty much.
Have we gone through everything?
Yes, we have.
I think we've gone through everything except how packs are going to work next TT.
Oh,
And I'm a big fan of Nate's core versus rotating pack label.
alright. Choose.
So you go with like Onyx, Recore, and then like one or two
yeah.
others maybe, and then all the other packs are in rotation.
The
So-
biggest packs with like quote unquote most generic, but really just like, okay, this is your staple pack.
The
It
ones
has- like, you
the
could
ones
make
that
a
are most
ship with it.
missed when they're missing are for sure Onyx and Recore. Like all of the missiles,
You
all
don't
of the
miss
cool
Flaw?
fixed
No, I'm
guns.
kidding. Yeah.
Like I'm happy to have
and those could still be on
40k in the
rotation, but-
rotation. Happy to have 40k in the rotation, rotating in and out. But
yeah, this would be like, all right, we have a pack where you could make most of a ship. You could make actually several different types of ship with just this pack. It could fulfill multiple roles. That's a core pack now. Mainly with turrets because fixed gun users are weird. No I'm kidding. Mainly with turrets though. So that's why there's like these 5 core packs that will like rotate 1 each. And then to supplement that, each player picks 1 secondary pack.
I thought that was too complicated, and it was gonna be as simple as like,
Or we
here
could do that.
these 3 packs are core. We're rotating 3 others or 2 others alongside them. But
No,
those
so
others
there's
aren't
5 that are
changing.
core, 4 that are secondary, and 3 that are auxiliary, or like basically sort the packs by size. So there's you pick 1 big pack, and then each player, so like the team picks the team as in quote unquote balanced council team picks 1 big pack that's in. Then each player picks one of the 4 smaller packs that are like Onyx, whatever. Like that's the pack on their ship. And then either the 3 auxiliary, which wasn't anomaly. Anomalies was one of them because there was only 3 guns at one point. Are either picked by the team or just available to all. That can be up for whatever you guys want to do.
All right, sounds good.
It was a weird fusion between the rotation and also Invalid's having each player like pick a pack to represent or whatever, that kind of thing.
Having each thing picked from the giant pool, well, we'll probably have to give a pool and they can pick from that. If the worst case scenario, we have to just unload weapon packs to save RAM.
Okay.
But yeah, that should be fine. Probably
I'll
best to
post
include a
the
document. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll share the document around. The document is set up for the staff chooses one of the big packs. Each player chooses one of the 4. They're called secondary packs, but like thematic packs, like SA, Kinetic. You have Onyx, that's fixed guns. Like those are all packs that you can kind of like, that's this. Those are the 4 sub packs. You pick one of those, you can supplement. You as a player picks one of those. You can supplement your weapons from that pack with the staff pick, which is like one of the biggest packs, and then your team together picks one of the 3 auxiliary packs. Now with anomalies changes, that will have to be revisited because I'll just post the thing as it was. We can update it later.
We'll talk about it. We'll announce it before the weekend for next weekend.
Yep.
All right, should be fine then. I need to head out, but thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Now, if I end this event, is that going to kick everyone? Let's test that.
Let's find out. Do your own, man.
Joined. Engine Rick's house joined.
Hey
I
there.
have been killed.
Yeah,